This is the Big Fat Man timeline. Before minus 2016,999 is the year of this. Zeus, the great god, created others in his likeness to serve different reasons or of existence. In other words, he refers them as his sons and daughters of his own making. Okay, we move on far in timeline. Okay, a long time ago, at minus 73 year, 2 years 0. Down the line, the sun god and the goddess Mars fell in love and had a son, Acrometos. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Who in turn married Zeus's maid, and they had 2 sons, a 5-year-old, 5 years apart. 5 years apart. The older, Deuceus, and the younger, Jackson. Also at this time, Chin and Cinda came to being as well. A long time ago, from the 20th to the 50th year of Jackson. The part of the backstory that pages 3 and 4 take place. These pages mainly focus themselves on Jackson and Cinda. A long time ago, around the 50th year. Wigner loses to the Drudders in a test of strongness. Wigner gives the powerful belt God of War to Jackson. Later, the giant Bywin Niffer tries to take the belt, but Adeusinus stops him. After that, Bywin Niffer wanted Chin to make him an unstoppable weapon for revenge against Adeusinus. But in the end, Chin gives the weapon God of Fighter to Adeusinus, who uses it to kill the giant. And then Adeusinus and Chin's friendship begins. Well, okay. On part 2, actions that lead. A long time ago, the 170th year, the Drudders, and together with Chin in the Anu race of giants, who at this point try to take over the realm of the great gods. Chin and Deuceus find a chest which has a cut-up giant head inside itself, and after some buy-on that, the Drudders and Chin unlocked their full power for the very first time. A long time ago, the 200th year. Cinna is deemed a goddess and acts like she has power over her husband, Jackson, who escapes her and lives with Chin and Adeusinus. A long time ago, the 230th year. Even after 30 years, the friends had still not been redeemed. In the background, the evil one who decides to control Adeusinus and forces him to touch Chin's head for 15 days in a row, which Drake's sends newest law, which forbids the head touch, no matter what happens. A long time ago, the 250th year, which is the beginning of part 3, Exile. The gods find out what Deuceus did. After Jackson tries to save his brother, that Zeus wrongly gives both of the Drudders the punishment of forever exile from the realm. The 250th year, 1827, in Earth years. The Drudders are exiled from the realm to roam the earth forever. A old man finds them, and they accept the old man's offer of partnership in building. Together they go to the mainland and start doing this. 1867. After 40 years of this, that the Drudders denied their original names, their past, and that they were in exile. And so, the original names of Deuceus and Jackson were replaced by the new names of the Big Fat Man and Cheesy Jackson the Fatty. Chin decides fuck you, phone. Just when I was doing something that would have been important, then you fucking interrupt me. Anyway, sorry for this interruption. Now, where was I in the timeline? Okay, the Jackson were replaced by new names of the Big Fat Man, Cheese Jackson the Fatty. Chin decides to leave the realm to find his friends. 1887. By the time he found them, he had undergone the same they had gone through, forgetting about pasts and denying original names. By this time, Chen was known as Chunky. The three friends reunited, and they took a house, which they lived in. 1899, the visit to New York City, which it turns out was weird. According to what Cheesy Jackson says in film 3, that a weird guy, Chunk Jack, offers Cheesy a hot dog with toenails on it, and that the big fat man wanted to eat it. 1909, The Big Fat Man Film 1. 1922, The Big Fat Man Film 2. 1930, The Big Fat Man Film 3. 1942, The Big Fat Man drinks too bad and joins Hitler's side. 1945, The Big Fat Man Film 4. Chunky and Cheesy Jackson, together on the side of the Allies' force powers, destroy most of Hitler's army with the powerful thunderclap. Hitler sends the Big Fat Man on a mission to destroy the Emperor of Japan, Hirohito, who poses as a threat to them. To get to Japan, the Big Fat Man gets on Skinny Smith's plane. Skinny Smith insults the Big Fat Man, who destroys Skinny Smith's head with his bare hands. The plane begins to crash, and so the Big Fat Man head rolls out of the plane. At this point, Hiroshi finds out and orders his high-ranking hitman, Joseph Joestar, to kill the Big Fat Man. Once the Big Fat Man lands on solid ground, that Joseph Joestar leads his ninjas, who all are in one blow defeated. The Big Fat Man runs up Mount Sushi, in which, by this point, the Big Fat Man betrays Hitler. Joseph Joestar and the Big Fat Man battle. The Big Fat Man redeems himself and kills Joseph Joestar. Chunky and Cheesy say their final words to the Big Fat Man while he falls down the mountain, says his final words before his dead body falls into the river. At this point, Hiroshi takes a photo of this, which becomes the wave of Kyoto Beach painting. 1955, so now it's 10 years later. 1955, The Big Fat Man Film 5. Chunky has by this point betrayed his friend Cheesy and has become Lord Shadow, third in command of the USSR or Soviet unit. Jack Lewis Ryan, and Cheesy Jackson, after getting through some of Chunky's soldiers, that they get the cube, a map that will lead them to where the dead body of the Big Fat Man is. They escape. They escape the beaches of Chunky's base, and a car which drives off in his office. Lord Shadow orders one of his highest ranking of officers or enrolls, Kush, to go after Ryan and Cheesy, which Kush does. He fights Cheesy on the roof of a truck, which is on a highway, while Ryan is being chased by the USSR army. Cheesy takes the wheel of the car after knocking Kush off of the car and then drives up a ramp which lands in a forest. They together find the body of the Big Fat Man. Then Kush finds the USSR, orders them to stop Cheesy. Cheesy grabs both of his friends. He runs. The USSR shoot at him. He escapes the forest and gets to a cold mountaintop. He turns and sees that the USSR has launched a nuclear bomb. Too late. It destroys only the forest and kills some of Kush's men. After Cheesy makes a fire, that he decides to go back to the base to kill Chunky. After Chunky angry scalds his officers in Kush, that Chunky goes off to meet Cheesy. After a long, bitter talk, that the two former friends battle each other on top of a plane. Chunky breaks Cheesy's back and is about to kill him, but at the last second, Ryan in a jet knocks Chunky back. Cheesy uses a power he had not used in a long time. Chunky lands in a river, but he gets to land. Cheesy lands and sees that the USSR armies are around him. After the free inroads say what would be their final words, their last words, and that the USSR or Soviet units counterattacks with their weapons against Cheesy, who destroys them, all with the thunderclap. Then he gets to where Ryan is, and together they drain the big fat man back from the dead. So after that, there's a large uh, time skip, but of course, I'm pretty sure that fans will try to fill that in with some of their own fan art. Fanfics. I mean, anyway, we skip to now 1990. 1990, The Big Fat Man, Lake Nurse Realm, which is a Big Fat Man video game of the Big Fat Man franchise, that is. The Drudders find the evil one who traps them in a new layer of hell, Lake Nurse Realm. They go across this layer. They find out Wigner has been possessed by the evil one to keep them in. They get past this and escape from Wigner's realm. In 1991, The Big Fat Man, Wigner's Realm 2, Hellfire's Return. 1 year after the events of the first game, Cheesy Jackson decides to go back to Wigner's realm. When he gets there, things look completely different, because this is the second layer of Wigner's realm. This time, Cheesy will do everything solo, and he does. He journeys through the nightmare this new layer is. He fights his way for more than 30 minutes as he goes through the nightmare. He gets to a messed up looking temple which has a giant fire demon inside. This fire demon is the final boss. Cheesy defeats the fire demon with his laser gun. He goes deeper to find Wigner. He and Wigner, without a thought, go through the portal, escaping back to their home. But it says then the evil one is coming, because this is not the end of the timeline. This is just the timeline so far. But there's going to be more coming. There's going to be more coming for the timeline. That was the Big Fat Man timeline so far, because the real story is far from being finished.